Okay, in this lesson, lesson number 18, we're going to talk about isolating clients from clients. In the previous lesson, we used the client isolation checkbox, the default forward, which we called X2, to prevent Wi-Fi clients from talking to Wi-Fi clients, but they still allowed Wi-Fi clients to talk to LAN clients. So we redrew our little picture, our little diagram here to make it more clear on this subject. What we changed here is X2 is this dark green logical connection so that these guys can in fact talk to each other, but they can still all talk to these other two machines. Today this lesson X1 is going to be turned off so these machines can't talk to these machines. And also these two machines can't talk to each other. Everyone's isolated. That may or may not be a problem for you, but there's other options down the road. So let's get through this one today. So we're going to hide that thing back down out of the way. We don't need that anymore. So we can come over here under IP and firewall. Filter rules, we already said that's turned off. You know, address list. We need an address list. So let's explain what that is. An address list is a method of identifying a group of local addresses that are given a name, such as client. Under the filter rules, we go here and pull up an address list. And we're going to call this, for this firewall rules, this is going to be clients. Name the address list. And the range will be 192.88.10 through 192.168.88.254. We'll apply that and say OK. So now we have an address list of that range. And now the filter rules, when I come up here and I prevent clients from connecting to clients, I'm going to remove that filter rule for a moment because I already have it in there. So now it's gone. So we need to add a new rule. The new rule is going to be, generally it's going to be forward. We won't let a client forward to another client. And if the client falls under this list of clients, source address, and he's trying to ship to another client, which falls under the list clients, then the action is we're going to drop that packet. So we're going to drop that packet and not allow it to happen. This prevents clients from talking to clients. We'll make a comment down here. Drops all client to client packets. This way clients can't talk to other clients. You can't bring in we can't have the iPhone coming in and talking to our two main computers and corrupting them with any virus that's on the iPhone or anybody else that comes into your Wi-Fi connection. So we're going to eliminate that possibility. That's the whole purpose of this exercise. So now we have the client, drops all client to client. So we're going to move it up to the top. The dummy rule you can't get ahead of, so we're going to make it first because we do not want any client wasting any time in our rule checking here if he's trying to talk to another client. So we'll knock that out right away. That's true. It may not be the most common event, but it is a forward event, so it can be right there. So now we have the drop forward from client to client. So let's go do some testing now. So we're going to test this list here. So I'm going to use a Windows terminal. Notice it's address 246. We're on the desktop. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do an SSH 192.168.88 to the router. And sure enough says, come on in. Yeah, we'll talk to you. No thanks. Don't want to do that right now. Next, we'll try to talk to itself to see what it does. It's 246. So connection's refused. Won't let you talk to itself with SSH. And that may be due to the fact that it's Windows machine and they act squarely. They may not be seen on the network at all unless you configure them to allow them to be seen. Okay, so it's 246. So let's go to 245. Notice that he's allowing us to connect all these things. 251. Let's try that. 251. I get it typed right. 251. That one doesn't work, so the Wi-Fi doesn't work. And 244. 244 doesn't work. So Windows is kind of screwy. He'll talk to somebody on the LAN. He doesn't even need the router to do that. Now, I don't know how we configure to prevent that. That'll be another lesson. Maybe somebody else has the answer for us. But at any rate, it did stop the forwarding between the LANs and Wi-Fi. So let's go to Wi-Fi now and see what it does. By the way, I need to get this lesson file over on the Pi 400 machine. So how do I do that? Well, I'll come over here to Files, and I'll just take this lesson here, find it in my directory folder. Right here, this is lesson 18. I'm just going to drag and drop it into the files. Winbox, and notice it shows up now. It's over here. So now I can go get it, and I can go download it from the router over there at the other machine and use it. Saves me having to do a sneaker network to pass files from one machine to the other. I can just do it right through the router. And it's a secure connection, so what's the problem? There is no problem. So let's go and look at the other side. Okay, now we're over here on the Lin Pi 4 machine, which is address 245. And you notice I have this file over here on the right, which is that lesson 18, which I got up here off the router. Remember, under the files, I wanted to download this thing so I could use it, so I simply come over here and hit the download button and download it into my computer desktop, and now I'm using it. So that's what that's all about. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and check all these machines, see who we can talk to, who we can't talk to. We're using SSH. And we're making sure that this client-to-client is disabled so that it won't impact us. You'll be able to talk to everything. So here we are. We're going to talk from, we're going to talk to the router first. And sure enough, it allows us in. Okay, next I have to go over here and uncover my list. We're going to talk to the desktop next, which is 246. And see what we come up with that. Remember, that's the Windows machine. So I'm going to go to 246 with our SSH. Notice it doesn't see it. Even though the rule's not active, that's because Windows doesn't let people see it when it's on the LAN. So that's why that failed. So next we're going to go to the next one on the list, which is 245. And sure enough, it lets us connect just like it should. And the next one on the list is 251. That's a Wi-Fi. And it lets us connect like it should. And last but not least, we have 244, which is also on the Wi-Fi. And it lets us connect just like it should. So now we'll go up here and re-enable the rule which prevents client-to-client. And we'll go back and continue our testing. See how things go now. Remember, we shouldn't be able to connect now. So the first thing is the last thing we did, 244. And it doesn't connect, which it wasn't supposed to. So the next one we're going to do is 251. That also shouldn't connect. User to user, or I should say client to client. It doesn't connect, that's good. So next we're going to go to the 245, which is itself. And of course it'll connect to itself. There's no reason that it couldn't, so we'll say no to that. And then the desktop, which is 246, and it can't connect to that for two reasons. One is it's a client, and the second reason is that Windows doesn't let the LAN see it. And now last but not least, we'll make sure we can talk to the router because it's not a client, and we can in fact connect to the router. So this proves what we've been talking about all along, that you can isolate clients from clients. And here we are back on the desktop computer number 246, which is shown right here. And you notice that the simple screen recorder that I recorded earlier over on this machine right here, 245 machine, I simply uploaded it to the router, came over here on the other machine, 246 machine, and there it is, and I just download it from this machine. Try to drag and drop it over here. And yeah, that works. That gets it on my desktop. It looks like all of it is there. Let's see if it runs over here. So the auto should be there. So anyway, this concludes this lesson. We've proven that you can, in fact, go to your router, set up this special client-to-client drop rule, and prevent clients from talking to each other. Now, there may be a situation where you don't want the Wi-Fi clients talking to your IP cable clients, and we can do that in the next lesson. So this concludes this lesson on using client-to-client isolation for all the clients on that particular bridge, which is the default for this particular MikroTik router.